who know me, they know me, it's comfort always. Give me a chance, I'll be wearing chappals and t-shirts and walking around everywhere. But yeah, sometimes I guess, like she said, that you have to go out of your comfort level because there's a certain dress code when you go to places, and that's why things like this helps us, because when you have an exhibition, you get to see fashion from all over the place, and it's not primarily, like she said, it's stuck to Bombay and Delhi. So when it does come to Chennai, you give people a chance to, see fashion the way other people do, and if you like something, you get to, portray yourself through them.
I mean, both of you have, the current trends that are going on. What is your pick this summer and stuff like that?
You can go. Trends is something I think which keeps changing, and that just comes about in a very weird manner, because one person brings back fashion from the 80s, or suddenly a person brings back something from the 70s, and then suddenly it becomes trending. So I think that's something to do with everybody's personal outlook on it, and I think each one chooses something which they're comfortable in. It's very, very important to be comfortable in what you're wearing, because if you're uncomfortable, it shows on your face, and then you're not able to carry it off, and then you look awkward, and everything goes on, so on and so forth. So I think it's just choose what makes you comfortable in it, and sport it and wear it proud.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that I noticed is there's a lot of, obviously it's summer and it's really hot, so the fashion is very cottony, which I love because of the weather, but I wish I could wear that all year round, to be honest.
Okay, so safety is something that's a topic of discussion to a lot of people today, and it's, extremely important thing.
I think it's very important to understand, this goes on to many issues, and now we're talking serious stuff, so I don't want to bore everyone with very serious things, because we are here for fashion, but I'd like to say that being a woman celebrity in this part of the world is pretty tough anyway. I mean, you're dealing with large crowds a lot of the time, you're dealing with a lot of pushing around you, but as a regular woman as well, I think, like I said, I would love to live in a world where we don't have to ask this question, where a woman can walk out at any time of the night, anywhere, and feel safe. And I think that's the world we want to try and work towards, be as safe as possible, and hopefully work towards, like I said, a world where we don't need to have this discussion anymore.
I think being fearless is very, very important, because predators feed off fear. So first of all, women have to stop being scared to be out there. If you're out there doing your thing, you be bold and face it head on. There's nothing to fear. Men are not gods, first of all. And if they are, pick up self-defense, go to classes, learn how to protect yourself, because that's very important. You can never rely on any other person. You have to rely on yourself. And like I've been saying all these days in all my campaigns, stand up for yourself. If you don't do it, the person next to you will never do it for you. You've got to stand up for yourself. Start protecting yourself, teach your children how to protect themselves, teach your daughters how to protect themselves, teach your sons how to respect women. That's how we're going to change the society, because we all think it's a, it's a beautiful concept where we want to have women and, have be equals and call ourselves a very democratic country, but then I don't think we're there. And I think I've said this earlier, that in order to make it a reality, we have to start practicing it now from our generation and the next generation, because if that doesn't happen, you're never going to see a future society without the word rape. You're never going to see a society without the word, abuse or child abuse or any of these horrendous words that we keep hearing, the stories we keep hearing through the news, and it just becomes yet another story. I think to stop that, please start teaching your children, your women, your neighbors, your sons, everybody to respect women, respect themselves, be proud to be a woman, and start standing up for yourself.
Tell us about it. We'd like to hear it from the both of you.
Well, I think that sport is not something that goes naturally hand in hand in this part of the world for girls. And of course it's changed since I started playing, which was a long time ago, 24 years ago. But at that time, I think the main concern was don't let her go out too much, because she may get too dark and not find a boy to get married to, And I think that those are the issues that we all kind of, as girls, I think everyone can relate to it, because at some point in our lives, someone that we know or close to us has told us that how you're tanned and what happened and how you're going to find a boy. If I'm not wrong, this happens to everybody. And obviously the profession that I chose, I mean, I've had parents who supported me no matter what, but the profession that I chose was very different. It was not something that was normal, so to say, especially at that time. And for a girl from Hyderabad to pick up a tennis racket and actually dream of playing Wimbledon and winning Wimbledon one day was something that people thought was actually a joke. I'm glad, I have to say, that we've proven them wrong, to be very honest. But having said that, that's a discrimination, of course, that we face. I think I do a lot of work for the United Nations as well, for the equality of women, and it's not something that is restricted only to India or the subcontinent or Asia. This is a universal problem. It's just more pronounced in some countries than it's not. You know, even till today, we have to fight for why, or justify ourselves why we need equal prize money as the men in tennis, and we need to every day justify that, and there's still discussions about it, and I find it ridiculous that we, even in today's day and age, need to have these discussions. So obviously it's a world phenomenon, and it's something that we have to fight. It's like what Varalakshmi said earlier. I think, of course, you have to teach your sons and brothers and husbands and everybody to respect women and treat them as equal and everything. But I think a very important part is for the women to believe that they are equal as well, and they need to believe that they belong, because to me that is the pure form of empowerment, the will and the belief to belong. So that's something that I always talk about, and it's not an easy subject to talk about right now. It's become very almost fashionable to become a feminist, I guess, in the world. But this is something that I truly believe in, because I have to say no, and they don't have a choice. They don't have a backing to fall back on. But having said that, if we don't stand up and say no to certain things, it's never going to stop. So I think that's very important, where people start standing up and saying no to themselves and saying it's all right if we don't get something, and start, you know, I think shaming the person and also trying to bring it out in public, because if you don't bring it out in public, they're going to continue to do this over and over again. Because recently it happened to me, and I brought it out in public, and I said, at least now the guy will think twice to ask another woman that, because the next time, you know, his name might be out. So I think that's important. You need to start telling the man, listen, it's not all right, and it is going to come out there, and your name is going to get, you know, spoiled, in other words, because it's not going to be the girls who are going to be shamed, because we are not doing anything. And they actually said, we walk into for us, for example, for auditions, we never asked if you suit the role. It's more like, do you have the after night effects, you know, and can you do other things, and will you do other things with certain people, and that's not the question that has to be asked. I mean, the question is, if you're not right for the part, take care, goodbye. And if you're right for the part, then do the role because you're apt for it, not because you look a certain way. Just because we're biologically different doesn't make us any lesser from a man. That is the main point that has to be solved. Just because we're biologically different doesn't make us any lesser because you Google at men or you Google at women the same way. It doesn't mean it puts us and objectifies us in any particular way. So that has to stop. And if we all don't start making a fuss about it, I know it's not, like you said, it's not a fun topic. It's not something which everybody wants to discuss. It's not something, you know, most women shy away from this topic to talk about it because it's embarrassing. But then we have to start somewhere. If we don't start somewhere, it's never going to stop, and our kids are just going to keep facing the same old wrath of, you know, all these things are going to keep happening. And like I keep saying, I'm saying it over and over again, please start standing up for yourself, ladies, because if you don't do it, no one else is going to do it.
Thank you so much.